You join us today for a very different kind of big test, and I'll now allow Leander to explain why.
So we have here the BYD Seal 5, a subcompact sedan that's actually bigger than the usual subcompacts, and the Honda Civic RS, a compact sedan that's actually bigger than its predecessors.
The reason why we brought them here is, one, a lot of you guys have been asking what are these two like, and two, well, it's really difficult to call them anything but compact because this is even longer than a BMW 3 Series, and this is even longer than a 20-year-old Honda Accord, which is nuts.
And this one has so much value for money that it feels kind of weird putting it against other subcompact sedans, so we chose something a bit bigger, a bit more premium instead. So I guess let's get the show started.
I'm Anton.
And I'm Leander.
And this is the
big test.
Which should we call it? The big test?
The big and small test.
The
medium test.
The medium test.
The medium test.
Alright, so this is the braking test. I'm gonna put my bet on this one, the Honda Civic RS, for a couple of reasons. One, it's on better tires. Two, it's on better brakes. If the Seal 5 manages to beat the Civic in terms of the braking test, I'm going to be genuinely surprised. Alright, it's time for the Seal 5 to do exactly what the Civic did. We'll see how this performs. I mean, who knows, it actually might pull off an upset. Oh my God. That was quite a distance compared to the Civic, if we're gonna be honest, and that is with the foot firmly on the brake pedal, full on panic stop with ABS pulsing. It tried, but you just can't beat better grip.
Okay, so right now we're gonna do a 60 to 100 test. But back then we did 0 to 60 tests, but readers pointed out that this is a bit more realistic in terms of need, because this is what we actually do when you're driving out. So yeah, 2 people on board, 1.5 liter turbo on the Honda Civic, slightly uphill going on Calax. So this is a expressway test.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, and
bit of turbo lag there.
yeah, so the CVT takes its time to wake up, and we are on. And
that's impressive.
And we're on normal mode, no sport mode here.
Yeah. And that was pretty uphill. That was
actually steeper.
climb.
Yeah.
That was a significant climb.
And it's hot.
Yeah, that's
Turbos
true.
don't like heat.
Yeah.
Right, so the Seal 5. Well, how much does this make?
This does 177 horsepower and 360 newton meters of torque. A bit on a par with the Civic in terms of horsepower, but significantly more torque, 70 plus more torque.
Oh, that is meaty.
All right.
Okay, so 60 k's an hour. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Boom. I was expecting
Pretty close.
Yeah, no? That 60-100 Polo is pretty good. Although it is worth pointing out that there is a more powerful version. This one at the standstill, as you explained kanina nga na, you know, HEVs, or in this case it's REEV, all the power is down low because of that electric motor.
So that's what, as I expected as well. Because if we were to do a 0 to 40 or 0 to 50, this would smoke the Civic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in real world situations like this, you're driving, you want to overtake, you're going uphill, you need more power. This is the more realistic test. All right, so we're now inside the BYD Seal 5, and now we're going to check out the interior features, the extra features rather. So I was driving this one, and let me just walk you around. It's typical BYD stuff. You have a small instrument cluster here. You have this rotating screen that does not work with Apple CarPlay, but it does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. What I don't like about it is that it still doesn't get USB-C ports. Granted, this is a very affordable car, so it only has USB-A ports, but what I don't like about it again is that they're all under here. Hassle.
Yeah.
And of course, you have all your controls over here except the AC. in terms of ADAS, it does have cruise control, no adaptive cruise control here. And I think yun na yun. It does have automatic headlights, no automatic wipers here.
Yeah.
But it does have a very nice sound system though. I can't...
Not bad for something this...
Yeah,
for
sub 1
million, yeah.
It's really good.
And, speaking of which, for a sub 1 million peso car, it's got soft touch materials everywhere. The dash, the door panels. I mean, you're not gonna find this kind of interior in other cars in its price segment.
That's true. I guess, yeah, that's that. We can jump into the front seats of the Civic.
Yeah. All right, so it's now the Civic's turn, and immediately you'll understand why this car is more expensive, but more on that later on.
Oh, so much better. but let's focus on the extra features first. So first things first, this head unit. It's a floating head unit that's so much better than the previous Honda head units. They've really improved this. You've got touchscreen controls here.
And
you
it's
have
fast.
knobs. It's fast.
Yeah,
It's really
it's responsive. Other features, well, of course, you have a digital instrument cluster. What I like about this is it's a facsimile of an analog cluster, which is good because it's nice, it's ergonomic, it's well placed, it's well spaced, it's legible. Of course, dual zone climate
with buttons and knobs.
And what I like about it, this is functional minimalism, guys. In a way, not everything is shoved on the screen, but the bits you will interact with the most, especially the climate control system, it's still separate from your infotainment. Like, this is strictly infotainment, and that's what I really like about the Japanese. And of course, another reason why this car is more expensive than the Seal 5 is it has advanced driver assist, the
Honda
full suite.
Sensing.
Yeah.
It's one of the best in the business. Very easy, very straightforward to use. I swear, like, I've had my dad try out the ADAS in the Sea Lion 6. Even I was confused when I was trying to tell him how to use it.
Honda's had over 50 years of tweaking and improving the Civic, and that's what it has on its side.
So I guess in terms of extra features, I guess we're both in agreement that this one just takes the points.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth the extra outlay.
Now we're done with this. We're gonna go back into the Seal 5 and check out the rear, and let's talk about the interior.
All right, so now in the back seat of the Seal 5. Now apparently there's a good reason why this is a pretty popular taxi over in Thailand.
It's really spacious. It's comfortable and spacious. Like, I have a lot of room.
Naka-4 pa ako dito sa likod.
I do remember that the Vios is quite spacious din sa likod, even the city, but
not like this.
Yeah, this is comfortable. Like, wala pang tunnel sa gitna, so you have a lot of space dito sa gitna, and I like the feel here sa likod. Like,
yeah, I mean, this is mid-size sedan territory already. I mean, yeah, naka-4 ko, everything, and even, I mean, it looks swoopy and whatever from the outside, but headroom's actually pretty good, at least for my height.
Akin din, but it's fine. Like, if I'm seated like this, it's really good. And I have to say, it kind of feels a bit more premium in the back than it is in front because there are less plastics to see or touch.
Yeah, you have soft touch materials even here at the back, and that's something you can't see for literally all the cars in this model's price range.
That's true. Yeah, so I guess it's time to hop into the Civic again.
Yeah. Now in the Civic, of course, you still get the same D4 space, and as I mentioned earlier, these seats are still in Leander's driving position.
It just feels like you have a lot more space. I guess the seats as well. Honda just knows how to make good use of space inside a car.
Oh, yeah. And another thing was, also compared to the front seats and also here in the back seats, the seats are just so much better here compared to the BYD. The BYD, at some point, it does feel like you're sitting on a backboard. Whereas this one, these are like supportive, they're supple, very good under thigh support, very good amount of support every part of your back. And that's where Honda nails it.
And I've tried this for longer periods, longer road trips, and it's really comfortable, even in long road trips.
Other things that make this feel more expensive than the Seal 5 is, we talked about the cabin materials here. It just feels lovely. It's like you have these part suede seats. Even the faux leather feels better in here. It smells better, as you mentioned.
As I said, it smells so much better. We can't show it on video.
Yeah.
It just smells better. I mean, it's hard to explain, but that's a thing that we're very keen about as well, because when you're in a car, you smell it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
When it smells good, it feels good.
Yeah, one thing I just don't like about here in the Civic is these.
Yeah.
It's got hard plastic door panels here at the back, and that would be like another reason to make it feel like you paid more for the Civic talaga.
That's true.
This is really the only disappointing part though. But I would take these hard panels, which I mean they still look nice. Overall,
the build quality is
the
just
build, the ergonomics, the the interior space and whatnot. No, it just goes here to the Civic.
no doubt about it. In terms of interior, points go to the Civic. All right, so points go to the Civic again, and let's move on to our next test.
All right.
All right, so I'm now behind the wheel. Anton is in the back, and I am resetting the fuel economy. I'm not expecting it to be a tight battle because that is a range extended hybrid, and we're gonna go downhill.
Let's be real. This is a bit of a foregone conclusion already.
But for the sake of
But for
science,
science.
for our scientific tests.
So, while we're doing that, while we're measuring fuel consumption, we might as well talk about, how comfortable it is.
Yes. So just right off the bat, it just feels a lot more comfortable in the cockpit, and everything just hugs you properly. It rides like a proper premium sedan, even if it's not a luxury car, but it rides proper. And you also talked about how good it handles, and it's actually not that bad in terms of ride comfort. Even if it handles well, it doesn't compromise in comfort. It isn't wallowy, as you said, but it's not harsh, which is a good thing, a very, very good thing.
Yeah, so here from the back, I do hear a fair bit of tire noise, but we're on low-profile performance
That's
tires.
a bit expected.
So, Michelin Pilot Sport 4s. Of course, this is an ICE, so on that part, medyo dehado na rin siya.
There's also noise from in front, which you barely hear anything when you're in the
Yeah, I mean,
CL5.
as an ICE, this car is pretty quiet.
It is, very much.
Here from the back, yeah, pretty good. Actually, the angle of the seats are just right. Now, going through expansion joints, you don't really feel much of it. You hear the thump, which is usual for any suspension, man. This is how any car should ride, in a way na it's not too soft, it's level all the time, and there's no unnecessary movements.
Yeah,
And this is chassis tuning done really right. All right, so we go in and
we're now at
meander.
Shell South Forbes, and this is the finish line. Let's stop here at the air and water station. The gauge is reading 19.2 kilometers per liter after 14.1 kilometers of driving, and that's with majority on the expressway, but a bit of uphill climb here, and that's actually not that bad. I was expecting a bit worse, but the Civic has proven to be slightly fuel efficient versus the typical big sedans. Let's do the same test for
the Seal 5,
then.
and let's see the Seal 5 just smash.
99.9 kilometers per liter. So since we're on the go right now, first thoughts on a ride, Anton?
Okay, actually, before I get to the ride, I'm gonna start with the seats, because these are pretty upright. Not that they're uncomfortable or any of that. It's just the angle is, I'd like it a little bit more reclined sana.
Yeah.
Also, I'm already noticing we have a fair bit of body roll back here. There's, again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of body motion. And you feel it even more here at the back.
I also mentioned earlier off cam that you don't hear a lot of the road noise here, a tire noise, compared to the Civic.
Yeah,
and that's because it has chunkier tires. But sound deadening, parang kind of pantay eh.
The Civic stays level more often compared to this one. This one, lots of lateral movement, lots of vertical movement as well. So if you're gonna do lane changes in this thing, you have to be as gentle as possible. And at the same time, if you see like highway expansion joints or any sort of wavy surfaces, you have to be a little bit more careful with this one. It's just something to take note of, especially for who get car sick pretty often.
And I feel like a good part of the target market is like the people who are looking for new cars, probably starting a family. So most likely there might be kids in the car. So that's not something you'd want to have your kid riding in. If the kids, I remember when I was a kid, I could get car sick often, so that's something to take note of.
Ride isn't just kung alin yung mas malambot eh. It's the one that stays level the best. And in this case, Leander,
the Civic really is just a lot more balanced. It's a bit firmer, but it's something that's more comfortable to be in. At the end of the day, it's not about softness, as Anton said. It's about overall comfort. And in this regard, the Civic takes the points for this one.
quite handily too.
For fuel economy, I'm not even going to question it because we're starting to go downhill. We're going to check the fuel economy once we get to Shell South Forbes again. So now we're approaching Shell South Forbes again, and clearly this is going to win the fuel consumption.
Contest.
But just to be clear, we were on normal mode, HEV mode, and we started entering Calax with 1 kilometer of charge left on the battery. So a bit of a fair as fair can get. And it now reads
3.9 liters per 100, which is, according to...
Mga chato 4, let's give it 4. Sige
Okay,
na,
so
let's give
4
it
liters per 100 is 20
kilometers per
kilometers per liter. Again,
So-
without much effort.
Yeah, and the Civic Red 19. And it's a bit close, but had we started driving longer, had we gone through city roads and this started using up the battery more,
Oh yeah, this is
would
the...
have been a runaway.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, you know, clearly, this is the winner here.
Right, people have been saying sedans aren't practical as they used to be, but these two beg to differ.
This one has how many liters of?
493 as listed in the Honda Philippines website.
And as always, we have the luggage to try it out. So
Okay.
let's get right to it. How many pieces of luggage can you fit in a Honda Civic? I guess start with that one.
Yep. Big one first. So we saw like this. I actually started off like this.
You can put this here
And just stack it on top.
it can stack. So you have space for another one here. If you do some Tetris, it can fit a lot more.
Yeah, apart from the fact that you can stack it. This, from observation, it's wider than the Seal 5s. And actually, if you're gonna be more wise about, you know, putting cargo here, it's not bad at all.
So this one has 450 liters.
450 liters, and it's a bit awkwardly sized.
So it's
Because-
deep in. That's why it suffers in terms of legroom inside,
Yeah.
because the trunk is very deep.
Yeah,
Very
and you have these like
What are these?
covers and stuff here.
So it suffers in terms of space on the sides again. So what I noticed as well, this has a higher trunk. So if
Trunk
you're
floor,
loading,
yeah.
if you're loading, no, even just this, the overhang
Yeah,
is a bit higher. So if you're loading something heavier,
Pretty high lift, yeah.
it's gonna be easier to do it in the Civic. Clearly, like dito pa lang, I can already see that it's not gonna fit all 3 pieces of luggage. I mean, the way we did it with the Civic. Ayaw, patayo. So
Yeah, this will require more Tetris. Again, this is a shorter car. And it just goes to show that this makes use of its space better than the BYD.
Points go to the Civic then.
Yep.
On to our last test, and it's value for money time. How much does the Civic RS Turbo cost?
So it's 1,759,000 or 69,000.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
A little under 1.8 million.
Yeah.
This one stickers for 948,000 pesos.
Yes,
This is the
so-
base variant.
So for the same money, you can buy one of these and a Wigo.
Yeah. So, you know, the Civic RS has always been one of the good bang for buck cars. It offers a lot for that amount,
Yeah.
but
However,
it's like fuel consumption test all over again.
yeah.
It's kind of a foregone conclusion. But then again, remember that this is not your typical big test. This is from a different segment. This is a smaller car. It's a
Supposedly.
subcompact sedan. That's bigger than the Civic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just goes to show as well that this is one of the best value for money offering cars in the
country.
market right now in the country.
Yeah.
Like hard stop. It's just that good. It just it offers you so much tech, good performance, fuel economy, all that, everything that you want in a sedan.
Yeah, I mean, it might not have advanced driver assist or a Bose sound system or ano.
Might not handle as well.
Yeah, but
as it is as a car.
But and wait, again, when you go back to the target market of this car, they're not. Ang target nila is the
Hindi naman
features of the
enthusiasts
car.
eh.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's the features
It's not
of the
for
car.
the driver enthusiasts,
Yeah.
not the hardcore car nuts.
Whereas this one, people who buy this, they already know what they want.
It's a Civic.
Yeah.
Civic boys know what
But
they want.
if we're talking strictly on value, no doubt.
All right, we're now down to our totals. This is like the 12th take of the day because mali-malimat namin.
Kaya kami nasa motoring, hindi kami mga engineer.
So guys, please take note of the scores.
First test.
Braking test.
Okay, runaway winner was definitely the Civic. So, 10 for the Civic, 8 for the Seal 5.
It was a big difference.
Yes.
Acceleration.
Okay, it's 10 for the Civic and 9 for the Seal 5.
You got 6.6
6.5-ish seconds, and
for
this was
60 to 100 runs. This got about 6.9
6.9 to 7.
Now, next up is interior. 10 points for the Civic and 9 points for the Seal 5.
Okay, so that's after interior.
Up next is extra features. 10
Civic,
points for the
10
Civic,
points.
9 points for the Seal 5. Ride and handling.
Definitely
Clearly,
the Civic, yes.
10 points for the Civic, 8 points for the Seal 5. Next is fuel economy, which is a runaway. We all know that had we started with a full battery and a full tank for both, this is going to be so much better. And in real world conditions with a bit of traffic,
it's definitely the BYD.
so it's going to have to be a 10.8 for the BYD because this is a hybrid. Trunk space, again, 10 points
for Civic, yes.
9 for the Seal 5. Value for money,
Well,
10 points for the Seal 5,
8
and 8
for
for
the Civic.
Civic.
So it's not a total runaway actually for
Not
the Civic.
bad.
Yeah. And okay, if you're gonna ask us, yes, the Civic is still the car we drive home. It just feels better overall. It's the intangibles that really swing us towards the Civic. Even if you take price out of the equation, the ride, the handling, the performance, the ergonomics, the build, just everything. However,
The Seal 5, this just goes to show just how good of an offering this is. We emphasize that in the value for money segment, but after the total scores were out, it just reiterates just how good this is. It's just so much better than all of the other subcompact sedans, so much so that it can go toe-to-toe even with the more expensive and
boys.
better compact sedans, or mid-size even. Probably not mid-size, but the compact sedans.
so yeah, we'd still drive home in the Civic, but if you're going to buy a CL5, you're really not gonna go wrong with it.
And we guess we'll see you guys in the next on-road test. On-road. No more off-road tests for us next year.
Unless you want more and give Leander more pickups. Till next time.